Hi guys, Doga here with a new video, and this video we're going to talk about Mr. Pandaria Classic, and I'm going to respond to the burning question that a lot of people have regarding Mr. Pandaria Classic. And I would say a top 5 things that you are going to need to do to be PvP ready in Mr. Pandaria Classic. A lot of the concerns for a lot of retail players that are like not having any classic characters or haven't played classic at all, but they actually want to play Miss Pandaria, but it takes a bit of time because of the leveling, gearing, whatever. I'm going to respond as much as possible to prepare for you to journey through Miss Pandaria Classic. Now, first things first, you will need to level your character. It is a given. Like, I think a lot of people are going to snooze when I'm going to say that, but you do need to level from 1 to 90, and now it's still the pre-patch. A lot of people are leveling. The dungeons are like very fast. If you queue up as a DPS, the queue times for dungeons are very low, and you can queue up maybe with a pre-made of 3, 4, or 5 and have it very quickly because you can do AoE pools a la retail kind of thing. That's something that you can keep in mind. Obviously, it takes some time to level. That's the only thing that I would say a lot of the retail players don't like to do, like the retail PvP only players, which I understand. Leveling is not really that fun, especially when it becomes so easy to level. You want it to be like very fast and very like quickly done. That's something that is going to be happening. So you just need to level your character. You could also buy a boost to level 85. On the shop, which is 60 euros, for example. I think it's $60 for NA, and you would get your character ready to level through Miss Pandaria. And yes, you need to level from 85 to 90, which is an investment, but if everyone is doing it, maybe you will have more motivation to doing it like yourself. Now, at level 90, what do you need to do to be PvP ready, and what is there available for you to get gear? Well, very simple. First and foremost, if you're level 90, you will be able to buy PvP gear on the auction house because there is crafting gear, crafted gear that is there as a foot in the door to be able to PvP correctly. Now, you could also spam Celestial Dungeons. For example, here you have Miss Pandaria Celestial Dungeons, and if you do that, you get those August Stone Fragments and those Valor Points, which normally you will be able to convert them into Conquest, for example. Or you could convert them into honor with the justice points, because you will also get justice points from doing dungeons, and then you could then convert them to honor, which will make it easier to not get wrecked when you are doing PvP. Now, if you're doing PvP, obviously you can also buy auction house gear and you will be decent. You still need to spam BGs, and BGs are very quick. If you're going to join the battle, you're going to have a fast queue time. Now I'm on the beta, so there is no one queuing. But if you're going on the pre-patch Mr. Pandaria, there are a multitude of videos of people showing that the queue times are very, very fast. Like, there is like a short from Swifty literally having an instant queue. There is also me experiencing it every single day whenever I'm going to do PvP. I have it directly. I don't need to wait a lot. Why? Because faction versus faction and faction versus your own faction is a thing. So you will be Horde or Alliance, and they don't care too much. They just want you to be in the BG as fast as possible, while in retail you have a mercenary thing, and if you don't do mercenary, you will be stuck with your own faction. So basically you have queue times. Well, here you don't have queue times. How do you get Conquest? Well, Conquest, you get it by doing multitude of PvP. You can do 2v2, 3v3, and even 5v5, and you can do 10v10. 10v10 is like the RBGs, as anyone knows, and you have people doing 10v10 like RBGs, YOLO RBGs, where you AFK, and if you lose, you get Conquest. In contrary to retail, in retail, if you lose, you get no Conquest. In Miss Pandaria, or in Cataclysm before, but in Miss Pandaria right now, if you lose, you get a minimum set of Conquest. For example, if you lost an RBG, you would gain 225 Conquest, something like that. And if you win, you get 700 Conquest. And if you're doing 2v2, the same. If you're winning, you get 225. I think it's the same for every single bracket, if I'm not mistaken. I think 2v2, 3v3 is the same. 5v5 I don't do, but you can do 5v5 if you want to. And you would get 225 conquest per win, and if you're losing you get 70, and a gear piece could cost between 1000 and 2250, or maybe the weapon sometimes 3500. So you have like different ranges, and obviously you would get gear on a daily basis, and you have a conquest cap. The conquest cap is like in retail, where it shoves every week more and more, and you can get gear more and more throughout the weeks. And then you have an uncapped moment in the season where you can get the gear how many times you want to get. And the gear and how many points you get from conquest is pretty easy. And there are people looking constantly for doing 2v2 or 3v3. For example, here you can see I'm on the beta. There are people actively looking for 2v2. So for example, you have a druid looking for 2s, DK looking for 2s, as survival hunter looking for 2s, rogue looking for 2s, a ret looking for 2s and 3s. So you have people that are active with searching for 2v2. And there's also a tab which is used for PvP. They removed the PvP tab for a reason I don't know, but they removed it. You have the custom tab. The custom tab is the one that is used since Cataclysm. So Cataclysm, they removed the PvP tab for some reason. But anyone that is doing PvP knows that the custom tab from pre-made groups is the one that you would choose for doing 2s or 3s. It is not as good as on retail, because obviously if your group is full for your activity, it doesn't remove the group, so it stays active. It really is annoying. I concur, but it is what it is at the end of the day. You adapt. The thing is about Mr. Pandaria, you don't have solo queue, so a lot of people are like looking for groups to PvP with. They don't have infinite friends either. They don't have a full Battle.net list of friends to play with. So they are active groups searching for new players, searching for new healers and DPS. A good thing is about Mr. Pandaria, and I'm sure you would know if you watch a few videos of mine, I'm very excited about is that 2v2 DPS, like double DPS comps, are viable. You can really win and be very high on the rated. Like if you're good, again, you need to be good. If you're not good, well, it is what it is. It would be the same with a healer or not. But if you're good and you progress, you can actually get a higher rating in 2v2 playing a double DPS comp. Double DPS is very active. You don't really have long games, and first and foremost, Conquest is super easy to attain because either you lose or win, it's easy attainable, but also it's very active, and I think it's one of the most fun things to do, like playing a double DPS comp. You win or you lose based on your decisions or your play style, and I do like that fact. I made a 2v2 double DPS, not tier list, but like best comps on my second channel if I'm not mistaken, or on this channel, I don't remember. But you can look it up. I will be putting it in the description. So if you want to check it out, you can for sure check it out. But here, how do you make a group? Like you will say looking for 2s, Warlock, double DPS, or with healer, for example, or heal. So you can do like this, and then people will just queue up and you can just invite. It's the same as LFG from retail, but this is better. I would say from retail is better than from classic, but from classic is more active. I can't show you on the pre-patch because they removed arenas for pre-patch, so I cannot really show you how active it might be. But trust me, if you have played Cataclysm, you know that the custom tab is literally active for RBGs, 2v2 and 3v3, and you can find guilds. For example, I am on Firemaw EU. We have like 3 or 4 guilds that are like completely about PvP, and they are like full and constantly with people every day. There are like hundreds of people online at the same time looking for people to play random BG, so you can farm honor pretty easily, or more fun at least, with people that you know. Or you can do 2v2, like you get a DPS and you can play 2v2 with him, or you can get a healer and you can play 2v2 with them. And since you're on the same guild, you kind of like are not going to be that toxic, right? So you're going to try harder a bit to be socially acceptable, I would say. But that's one of the things that you need to do. If you want to get gear, you need to do either BGs for the honor that you would get for the honor gear, which is for example this one. This is honor gear. If you want to get the epic gear, which is the conquest, you will need to do arenas, RBGs. Those are the primary things that you would get conquest from. You could also do, like I said, the heroic, like the celestial dungeons, where you can then convert valor into conquest. But it is not that great, and if you're a PvPer, I don't think you're going to sit into celestial dungeons. Those dungeons are quite fun, to be fair. I do like to do that, them on alts, like on Cataclysm. What I did on Twilight dungeons, I geared my characters through that, so I have a little minimum of gear, and then I would jump into PvP where I can then farm with Conquest. That's something I did and I had fun with. Now, here is a vendor for the August Stone Fragment Exchange. I would not recommend to buy the gear thinking that it's good for PvP, because it has a hard cap. So PvE gear is lower eye level when you enter in PvP. So it means that there is no benefit from doing PvE to PvP better. You will have like either a very small foot in to the space of PvP, so you're not going to get one-shotted, but you're not going to be extremely efficient either. And trinkets, you want to have PvP trinkets because it has a PvP trinket bonus, which gives you PvP resilience, which again is something you kind of need, because then you have, like, for example, I show you 68% PvP resilience, which makes you less likely to get one-shotted. And a lot of the PvP trinkets are also very good because it gives you PvP power, which again gives you more damage. Like you see, I have 12k. This is like the honor gear. Conquest, it's higher, 12k power, 30% more damage, and 12% healing. That's something that you will need if you want to deal a serious amount of damage. If you have PvE gear, you will not have PvP power, so you will just sleep on the 30% extra damage that you would get from the PvP power. So you do not want that. People are saying like they cannot really like play without solo queue. I understand if you come from retail and let's say your memory stops at Dragonflight, but before Dragonflight, where I find PvP way more popular back in the day, we were all searching for mates in LFG or in guilds or with mates or like in channels. But in general, that was the play. You needed to socialize. So I know it's like a barrier and sometimes you don't want to do that, and I have also that problem where I just do not want to talk with anyone. I don't want to hop in Discord. But like I said, PvP, if you take it less seriously, you don't mind to just queue up with anyone. Those are not teams. You don't care. If you lose, it is what it is. If you win, that's better. And if you feel like, okay, now I'm opening up, I might go on Discord with that guy, or I might just like play a bit more seriously, try to strategize a few comps to face versus who you're facing and see how you're going to win. That's something you can decide for yourself. But if you take PvP so seriously that it stresses you out, that's more a problem that is inwards and has nothing to do with the game. That's just one thing I wanted to say. And solo shuffle, although it is a good thing, solo queue is a good thing for the game. I think it kind of destroyed the LFG thing that was going on retail, so that's a negative. But while destroying the LFG part of the game, they also destroyed themselves because the queue times are very long. Having a 20-minute queue time for a solo queue is just like unbearable to me. Like, if you tell me that if I have to wait 20 minutes before starting a League of Legends match, I would just like, bro. And that's a League of Legends match which usually takes 30-40 minutes of in-game time, while a solo shuffle you could wait 20 minutes and actually only play 12 minutes. So the ratios are not okay. And that's why I'm actually happy about Classic Mists of Pandaria, because I think it's a very popular expansion. A lot of people are going to play, and it's going to be very fun. One thing you need to know again, those are the two places that are very important for the Alliance and the Horde. For the Alliance, you have Shrine of 7 Stars, and for the Horde, you have Shrine of 2 Moons. Those two places are your kind of capital from Mists of Pandaria. And you have all the vendors here, or all the reputation vendors here. For example, this August Stone Fragment Exchange is here and not in Stormwind. And if you want to buy the Conquest gear or the Honor gear, it is on the bridge. I can show you guys. Hopefully I'm fast enough to not make you like be bored, but I'm going to show you here on the beta. Obviously there are like teleporters and whatnot. I'm not going to use it because it brings me to dungeons, and here you have like PvP gear, and it's really like easy to access. But in the real launch, you will have to travel to the bridge. And if you know, back in the day, if your server was like very active, you had a lot of PvP action there. So I think the Horde one is a lot higher. I think it's there, and the Alliance one is there. Because I don't play Horde, so I don't know. But back in the day, I remember a lot of people were like trying to get some kills out like on the bridges. Unfortunately, the PvP servers are very faction balanced. You have Gehennas for a Horde, for example, on EU, and then you have Firemaw for Alliance. I wish they actually merge those two servers, but I don't think they're going to do that. And I think it would still be Alliance favored because human is the best ratio. Another thing I'm going to tell you, you could like invite a Horde player if you know him on Paladin, but you cannot really play with a Horde if it's like someone you don't know. If I'm not mistaken, the LFG is only like faction locked, so you cannot really find a Horde player there. If I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken. So it really sucks. But at the end, if you are playing Horde, you should be playing on the Horde server. If you're playing Alliance, you should play on the Alliance server until they actually like merge them. You have a fly master here, so if you don't want to fly, you can do that here. And normally the vendors will be here. Now, unfortunately, the vendors are not active here because they want you to buy the gear on the PvP vendor from Blizzard, from the beta. But he will be the vendor, and you would have the Honor vendor here, the Conquest vendor here, the previous Honor vendor here. So you have like different versions of the seasons. You would have it there, so you have more choices. You have, I think, you have the Honor one, the Conquest one, you have the Conquest weapons one, and the Conquest weapons one and the Honor weapons one, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken. It has been a while that I didn't like come here to buy stuff. And here would like normally be Horde fighting the Alliance sometimes and like be annoying, but that's part of the world PvP pretty much. But they removed it. But here you have it. So here you would have the gear vendors. So that's another tip. Like, again, don't search too far. It is just like on the map. It's written here: Conquest and Honor Quartermaster. What else can I suggest you guys? For sure, don't be scared to invite people to play with. Don't be scared to actually join a PvP guild, especially if you don't care about raiding. Just join a PvP guild. You will find a PvP guild for sure. I mean, if you are on Firemaw, I can invite you in my PvP guild. It's not mine, but like in the guild that I have joined, which is a pro PvP. It's a really cool like guild, and basically has a lot of people playing for PvP, for RBGs, for 2s, for 3s, for even random BGs. So you have a lot of ways to enjoy yourself. And you will find people looking at like the channel 4, which is looking for a group. There is constantly people searching for PvPs. Like 50% of the people are searching for raids or like looking for people to raid with. And you have also people looking for arenas and PGs and whatnot. So I think a lot of the population that is like on the back foot of like, I don't want to play Miss Pandaria because it has no solo queue. If you have played World of Warcraft before solo queue was a thing, and you have arenas before it was a thing, you should remember what made you love World of Warcraft. Surely, if like LFG and searching for people was a problem, you would not be playing World of Warcraft before. That's how I see it. And maybe right now what you have on retail and what we have on retail is convenient and made you maybe forget about the days where you were searching for people to play with, and actively be happy to make new friends, because maybe those friends are from the days where you were looking for people to arena with, well, you should try to remember those days instead of like being stuck on the solo queue thing, which I'm going to break it to you. It's not going to happen in Miss Pandaria. It might be, but it would be a surprise, and I would be honestly surprised if they would actually bring a solo queue. If that happens, it would be enormous. I think it would be breaking literally records of PvP, of people actually leaving retail for Miss Pandaria, because some people are just like not willing to leave because there is no solo queue. RBGs and no solo queue like arenas. I think if they do put a solo queue, they should like definitely not put a solo shuffle kind of thing. It should be just purely solo queue 3v3 on the same ladder. So you have somewhat of a evolution towards your rating, and then the inflation is not going to be bad, right? So I think it's a good thing. So we'll have to see. So if you want more tips, or if you have questions, burning questions, let me know. I have played the beta. I did arenas on my druid, I did arenas on my hunter, I did arenas on my rogue. I didn't do arenas on my warlock because, again, I wanted to try other classes, because I was for sure, and I am for sure, that I'm going to play warlock in Miss Pandaria Classic as my main. So I made a video on the second channel about that, and I can truly say that it is one of the most satisfying gameplays to play. Yes, there is no real balancing. There is a few balance changes that they've made for PvE. PvP, it's not really into account. But if I say that it's one of the most balanced states across all expansions, you should trust me. Even though it's very chaotic, it does, like, everyone can do like fantastic. The chaos of all the classes being good made it that it is a very balanced state, since every single class can be fantastic. Yes, you have comps like stomping on other ones, but I still believe like player skill is over everything, so we'll have to see. Again, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.